Royal shocker. Princess Leonor marries Christian, King Felipe's emotional reaction. 2025 edition. It was supposed to be just another royal engagement, an expected union between two young royals, destined for duty and diplomacy. But what unfolded inside Copenhagen's Grand Cathedral left even the most seasoned royal watchers speechless. Because on this day, the heir to Spain's throne, Princess Leonor, didn't just marry a prince, she changed the course of two royal families forever. And at the heart of it all, standing in quiet disbelief, was her father, King Felipe VI. His eyes, glistening with pride and heartbreak, told a story the cameras couldn't capture. How did it come to this moment? What happened behind palace walls in the days leading up to the wedding? And what did the king whisper to his daughter moments before she said, "I do"? Today, we take you inside the most emotional royal event of the decade, and reveal the moment that left an entire nation in tears. The sun rose gently over Copenhagen on the morning of the wedding, a soft golden light bathing Amalienborg Palace as Spain's royal motorcade arrived. Crowds lined the streets, waving both Spanish and Danish flags, their cheers echoing across the cobblestone courtyards. Inside the cathedral, history waited. Every seat filled with royalty, from Europe's oldest dynasties to modern monarchs who had come to witness the union of two future crowns. And then, silence. The doors opened. Princess Leonor of Asturias, dressed in an ivory gown inspired by Queen Sophia's 1962 wedding, stepped into the aisle. Her mother, Queen Letizia, held back tears. King Felipe stood tall, but his expression told the world everything, the bittersweet pride of a father watching his little girl walk into her destiny. The crowd gasped as the orchestra began to play. But it wasn't just the beauty of the moment, it was the symbolism. Spain's future queen was marrying Denmark's future king. A love story that had started quietly behind palace walls was now becoming one of Europe's most powerful alliances. But few knew the emotional storm that had led to this moment. In the months leading up to the wedding, tension rippled through both royal households. Spanish tabloids speculated that King Felipe had reservations about the timing, that he wanted Leonor to complete her royal military service and begin her constitutional duties before taking this step. Yet, Leonor's heart was already set. She had met Christian years earlier at royal events and European youth forums, their friendship growing quietly, away from cameras, into something much deeper. When the palace finally announced their engagement, Spain erupted with mixed emotions. Supporters saw it as a romantic fairy tale, a modern echo of the alliances that shaped Europe centuries ago. Critics, however, whispered about protocol, about timing, about duty. But on this day, none of that mattered. Because when Christian turned to see Leonor walking toward him, the world stopped. His hand trembled slightly. His lips quivered as he whispered something only she could hear. And from the front row, King Felipe blinked back tears. For a brief moment, the King of Spain was not a monarch, he was a father, saying goodbye to the little girl who once held his hand at state ceremonies, who once sat beside him at military parades, and who now stood ready to become a queen in her own right. As the ceremony continued, the cameras captured moments that words can barely describe. The light catching Leonor's tiara, a piece specially redesigned from Queen Ina's diamond diadem. The subtle nods exchanged between Queen Margrethe and Queen Letizia, two mothers from different worlds, united by love and legacy. And then came the vows. When Leonor said, "I do," her voice was steady, but when Christian's followed, emotion cracked through. The cathedral filled with a stillness so powerful, you could almost hear the collective breath of history being made. When they kissed, bells rang across Copenhagen. Fireworks erupted over the harbor. And in Madrid, the royal palace lit up in gold and red, symbolizing Spain's pride. Yet the story didn't end there. Because later that night, in the private royal reception, something deeply human unfolded. King Felipe stood to make a speech. His voice, calm but heavy, trembled as he began. "My daughter, you were born with the weight of a crown. But today, you remind us that even royalty deserves love." The room fell silent. Christian looked down, visibly moved. Leonor reached for her father's hand. "I once feared that duty would take you from me," Felipe continued, "but now I see, love has guided you to where you belong." Those words would become the headline across Europe. A father's blessing. A monarch's surrender. Behind the glamour, though, came the quiet reality of royal life. The next morning, the couple appeared on the palace balcony, waving to thousands gathered below. Cameras zoomed in, capturing every glance, every smile. But what viewers didn't see were the private moments, the heartfelt embrace between Queen Letizia and Queen Margrethe, the whispered conversations between Leonor and her younger sister Sophia, who was visibly emotional as she hugged her sister goodbye before Leonor returned to Denmark. And somewhere, deep in the heart of the Zarzuela Palace, King Felipe sat in quiet reflection, watching replay footage of the ceremony, his daughter's radiant face, and the nation's overwhelming response.